Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Peter Barber here, professional singer and music producer, and I just did a first-time reaction and full musical analysis of Addict, one of the very early fan songs from the Hazbin Hotel universe that has been recommended to me a bunch. So finally got around to it, enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed as well. I hope you learned something. So I'll see you after. Val.
Till death do us part, but we're already past that phase. This is a brand new start, and I think I deserve some praise for the way that I am. Despite having overdosed and ending up comatose, I don't give a damn. I've let my emotions go, fuck being a sober hoe.
Dutch subtitles is not what I was after. Hold on.
This is a brand new start, and I think I deserve some praise for the way that I am.
It's actually so minimal to start out here. We have this low F that comes in. The really, really low F, we get that in a piano, and then there's a drone, like just a bass drone. And then we have this like plucked synthy doom doo doom doom doo doom that's kind of mimicking there's kind of following a similar pattern that Angel's lead vocals are doing. And then we just have Angel's vocals, which are also sounding, just the way they're edited, sound like very futuristic. There's kind of like a robotic element to them, which very much plays into this soundscape. Like the whole song is produced so far in a very synthy, electronic driven way. EDM coded, although we don't have any drums or any driving motion yet. But yeah, that's what we got so far. So I think this might be the most popular video like in the Helliverse. Over 200 million views. It's an Angel fan song. I guess it came out about a year after the pilot or so, which I just watched pretty recently. So pretty cool. I've gotten a lot of recommendations to check this one out.
Till death do us part, but we're already past that phase. This is a brand new start, and I think I deserve some praise for the...
Actually, like the accent is very, and the voice as well is very similar to Blake Roman. Blake has a uniquely high tenor voice, so it's unlikely that our singer here, who I do not believe is Blake Roman, would have a voice that high. But it's actually a really there's a very strong similarity between their voices. Now, vocal range wise, we're only going from F3 up to middle C at C4. So for any kind of tenor voice, this is very much in the middle. This is cake. But well, we'll see. We'll see what the high notes look like. But so far, I mean, it sounds a lot like as far as the accent and just kind of the color of the voice, it sounds a lot like Blake's performance of Angel.
Start, and I think I deserve some praise for the way that I am. Despite having overdosed and ending up comatose, I don't give a damn. I've let my emotions go, fuck being a sober hoe.
I've let my emotions go, fuck being a sober hoe. So now we get some motion, so we get some snaps coming in there, right? We also had this pulsing bass line, a pulse bass. Some of that going on. And it's just kind of, now we get this first section that was just like the bass drone with a few things happening on top of it. We get into this second verse, which is very much, now we've got motion in the song.
The way that I am, despite having overdosed and ending up comatose, I don't give a damn. I've let my emotions go, fuck being a sober hoe. This is the mantra, this is my life. You're playing with now till the end of the night. Surrounded by fire, the passion ignites. A hidden that heaven and hell are out of the heart.
So very obviously, I mean, it's very clearly tuned, like the vocal. So all vocals are tuned in any kind of studio production. Sometimes you'll tune them heavier if you want to get a sort of robotic feel to it. And we very clearly, Silvahound, I think, made this song very clearly in the editing, the vocal editing process, wanted to go for a sort of artificially robotic sound. So what you do is you basically just do more aggressive tuning on the voice, and it becomes inherently less natural sounding. We do have some lovely high notes here from our angel. We're in F minor.
Mantra, this is my life.
Live. It's all the way up to tenor high G already, and that still sounds very comfortable. Seriously, like very, very similar to Blake's voice so far.
In a sober home, this is the mantra. This is my life. You're playing with now till the end of the night.
No. So that's going to be an A flat. Yeah, so up to high A flat. So for all of you who've seen Hazbin Hotel Season 1, which I'm sure you have, that's the same high notes that Blake sings in Poison, actually. And all those high notes in the chorus. Or no, it's when he goes, ah, ah, ah. There it is. In that theme in Poison. That's also a high A flat. I don't think I just sang the right notes there, but that's also a high A flat. So same high notes.
Is my life. You're playing with now.
That one.
Till the end of the night. Surrounded by fire.
Surrounded by, we get a little growl in the voice there.
Playing with now till the end of the night. Surrounded by fire. The passion ignites. A hidden heaven and hell.
That last phrase there, you can tell how aggressively that's tuned. So basically, when you aggressively tune something, the round edges on the voice kind of come off. And so from one note, typically at the end of a note to the start of the next note, it would be a smooth, natural transition. When you aggressively tune it, those changes get really jagged. And so that's one way you can tell when something's been tuned. And in this case, it's very intentional. A more amateur producer or editor might think it still sounds natural, but anyone producing something on this level is going to know, like, I'm intentionally going to make the tuning for the effect. And like I said at the beginning, the whole song has a sort of it's very electronic based. It's very almost robotic feeling in that way. And so tuning the voice that way actually makes sense if the goal is to try to fit, what's happening musically otherwise.
Till the end of the night. Surrounded by fire. The passion.
Listen to this right here.
A hidden heaven and hell. I'm addicted.
Up to tenor high B flat. Yeah, this is in the vocal range that I'm used to from the Blake Roman Angel. Easy.
Addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis. We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing it in.
Oh shit, we got Cherry up in here. We'll duet with Cherry. This is a really cool animatic moment here where it's going back and forth between Angel on the bed and then Angel in withdrawal or in some kind of painful situation when he's not, performing, right?
I'm addicted.
So they're perfect octaves apart for this chorus. I'm addicted. So Cherry's up on the high A flats, Angel's on the middle A flats.
To the madness, this hotel is my Atlantis. We're forever gonna have a...
That's all the way up to high E flat. So this is not high for our Angel voice here because he's on the lower E flat, but our Cherry's up on that high E flat 5, which is it's very high belt territory. That's almost as high as she sang in Piss, which had some really high belts in it. Different singer, right? And I'm not hearing the Australian accent here, so I don't know about that.
We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing it in. I'm addicted.
I love her character design.
Higher than the ceiling, and we're never gonna want this fucking feeling to end. Just concede and give in to your inner demons again.
Okay, before we get into this, okay, very EDM coded, as I said in the beginning. We have this classic like trap snare to lead into the build up. Then the double. I mean, this is classic. Like, I guess this came out in 2020, so it's definitely not early EDM. But some of these samples and some of the feelings have like an earlier version of house music.
Forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing in it.
Here we go.
I'm addicted.
Goes right into the double.
Getting higher than the ceiling, and we're never gonna want this fucking feeling to end. Just concede and give in to your inner demons again.
Yeah, so this is like really a pretty like basic, kind of like progressive house song it sounds like it's from like 2010, just based on like the samples being used and the synth design there. Now, background, I was very, very in the EDM world. I produced electronic music for a long time. I went to school in Miami for a couple years and got super into the EDM scene. Starting in like 2011, 2012. So very much in that scene, know a lot about electronic music, and that the samples here, the sound being used feels like a much earlier than 2020 version of EDM. What else is all I gonna say? Oh yeah. So what's interesting about this, and this is pretty classic in EDM and house music, is you have a chorus. Like, it's funny. It would be a chorus in normal music, but in this case, it functions more like a pre-chorus. And then the drop, when there aren't any vocals, is like more of the actual chorus. It's this weird thing in EDM where you have these full sections that have no vocals on them. And the way it's been led up to is more like, okay, now we're landing on the chorus, but what we just heard felt like a chorus. But then the drop where like the beat comes in, which is normally in a chorus, then happens, but there's no vocals on it. It's this funny thing, but we get that here. So they sing, Angel and Cherry have this big duet together, which feels like a very chorus moment. It's when they're talking about being addicts, right? Which is, that's when you get the lyrical material of what the song is based around. And then after that, we have this drop, or this other section where there's no vocals. Anyway, it's normal in this kind of music, but it's totally not normal anywhere else, really. Come on. Such a douche. Fucking hate Val.
In love, but you fell deeper in this
I was like, is that Angel? Good Lord. It's not that high, but just the lightness of it.
You fell in love, but you fell deeper in this pit. While death rains from above, so count your blessings, cause this is it.
So that's interesting. So we're in like the second verse now, and now we get Sherry singing. But I mean, usually when you go into a second verse, you've added instrumentation compared to the first verse. In this case, it goes all the way back to how it started in the very beginning of the song, with the low drone and this plucked synth kind of thing. Like, strips it way back down to where we started. Which is interesting. No drums, no nothing. Like, truly back to the very beginning of this song.
From above, so count your blessings, cause this is it. You're not letting it go. So what?
Go. Yeah, down to E flat. That's actually quite low for a female vocalist to have an E flat in like a usable range. And you can tell it's very low for our Cherry here, right? It gets very, very breathy. at the bottom. She's not forcing it to get down there, but it becomes breathy. There's less resonance. There's a lot less power.
You're not letting it go.
Letting it. She kind of touches it there, but then we get a more clear version here in a second. I'm singing an octave lower because I'm a bass. Oh, it's kind of like that. It's like almost at the bottom, right?
Is it you're not letting it go? So what if I misbehave? It's what everybody craves. You already know.
Okay.
So come if you're feeling brave and fancy yourself a mate.
I mean, that's a great way to ramp up a section too, is you sing a melody or a motif in one octave, and then you just sing it up another octave. And then it'll go to the next section and maybe take it up another octave. That's tough. Because then you're getting into like a 2.5 octave vocal range.
So come if you're feeling brave and fancy yourself a mate. You want it, I got it. See what you like.
So this is interesting. So you hear the claps now. So these are much more natural clap sounds. Before in the build-up section, we had like very obviously, like heavily sampled trap claps, which is different. These sound more like natural human claps, sampled as well, but different style of clap.
Yourself a mate, you want it, I got it. See what you like. We could have it all by the end of the night. Your money and power, my sinful delight. I hate the heaven and hell, however high. I'm addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis. We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing it in.
Okay, so we go back into this section that lyrically and chord-wise too even feels like a chorus and maybe would be considered the chorus, but we don't get the big wall of sound, drum samples in your face that you would typically get in a chorus. Usually the chorus is the most hype part of the song. That's going to be saved later for presumably when it drops again after this.
My Atlantis, we're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing it in.
Great high notes.
To the feeling,
different clap pattern. We got some like kind of like atmospheric crowd sounds in the background. Like, so we get the claps, which just kind of feels a little bit like a crowd. And then there's some other vocal, kind of like distorted vocally stuff happening in the background too, just adding to the atmosphere of this. There's someone kind of doing that kind of thing. Very easy to hear on headphones, maybe not, depending on what you're listening on. Like yell, chants. Okay, classic build-up. So we have a cool filter here where a lot of the frequency of the voice has been removed. It's sort of like a telephone filter where you take a little off the top and a little off the bottom, so you just get the middle band of frequency. But they did something a little different here with this. Well, it's also very intentionally very robotic sounding. I think there's also a flanger, which is just a weird audio device that it puts an effect on the voice. It's interesting though. Yeah. There we go. Great. So we have this section of the chorus, which is just instrumental, right? And then now we get where kind of everything comes together. So we get the drop, this progressive house drop, and we get the actual chorus vocals that previously have been separate.
I'm addicted to the feeling, getting higher than the ceiling, and we're never gonna want this fucking feeling to end. Just concede and give in to your inner demons again.
All right. Okay, cool. Okay, guys. Addict, fan song, Hazbin Hotel. 5 years old at this point, 200 million views. I gotta be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you all. I don't understand the hype around this song. I don't get it. I think like every other song in this universe is better. But this one's the most powerful. Is it because it came out? Is it because it was like the first big fan song that it's super popular? I could go on. I will, but I don't get the hype. So I want to hear what you guys think about this song and maybe how it compares in your mind to all the music that's come out since. Anyway, this was still fun as always. I love analyzing and reacting to anything from this universe, and I'm happy to do much more. So leave recommendations below for anything I've missed, and hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.